going. Now, I gotta warn you, this is my first time doing this with a Zoom audience and streaming on YouTube and Streamlab software and everything. So this may be a little rough. This may be a little rough. But we're gonna tell a bunch of stories. I'm gonna teach you a few things tonight. So what this is about, this is a new initiative I formed called the Friend Magnet Framework. I originally came up with the framework um, as a way for people to help overcome social anxiety, learn to connect with other people, talk with other people, learn to find good friends. And I teach people where to find friends in your cities. And actually, a lot of people using this have ended up in relationships because this, if you're good at making friends, relationships will come to you, or they will come to you. Once you learn the secrets, people just generally come to you, and then you kind of have the problem of you have too many, too many people. But what a wonderful problem to have! What a wonderful problem to have. Um, so, title of this little presentation, I may switch back between the presentation and my full webcam because sometimes just looking at the presentation be a little bit boring there. But so title is Friend Magnet Framework. So it's unlocking soft skills for engineers, IT workers, data engineers, software developers, and all those who are socially anxious and shy. I was one of the most socially anxious people, believe it or not. Now I can give a speech around hundreds of people. I'm going to take you through my journey. And the tagline I chose with this was, for those who choose self improvement, social anxiety can be beaten. And I learned that my problem was I did not know what the heck I was trying so hard to meet people and talk to people, but I was trying the wrong things. I made an analogy. I was talking to someone at Yale the other day, an anthropologist, a real fascinating person. And I made an analogy. It's like, from a software development standpoint, I was trying to input Python code into a C# compiler, and I was pulling my hair out. Oh, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? So I'd hire people to teach me the rules behind meeting people and making friends and all the patterns. And with me, how my brain works, I see the entire universe and world as a series of systems that consist of rules and patterns. And once I figure out the rules and patterns, I can model it all in my head and see connections between different things. And then iterate the system over and over. So yeah, that's just kind of how my brain works. Some people think it's kind of weird. I meet artsy people; their brains are pure chaos, and that's kind of fun to know artsy people. But anyhow, you want to find more, thefriendmagnet.com kind of goes over some of the things we'll be teaching, but I got to update that site. You can get in touch with me, davidgood.org. Internationalfriendconnection.com is about our global organization, 50 chapters around the world. I'll talk about more of that in a little bit. Let me grab my notes here so I don't forget it. Yeah, just want to, so grateful for everybody for coming tonight. As you know, this is our first live stream with a live audience. I think we may be one of the only live streams on YouTube that actually has a live audience via Zoom that we can interact with. So so, oh, for all y'all on YouTube, this is new for me. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share all our videos as much as you can, because any money we make off of YouTube is going to be poured into the organization to open up more chapters to help shy people around the world. We do all this for free. I just like helping people. It's my life's mission. It keeps me alive. So just a little caveat. This is not therapy. What this is, I teach personal transformation through learning real life skills, real repeatable skills. And all of these classes, which we're going to have over the next 6 weeks and then probably repeat them every Monday, they're living, breathing classes. So as we test stuff in the real world, just like doing software development, we're going to test stuff in the real world. We're going to see what works better, and we're going to try to optimize things as we go. So that's kind of exciting. We're going to have all these people working to optimize everything. And so I'm not a therapist. I am certified professional coach. But what I like to do mentoring. I've been working with shy, socially anxious people for the past 11 years, overcoming it myself, and then helping other people. And we've helped tens of thousands of people over the past 11 years. I'm going to share what took me a decade to figure out, so you don't have to wait that long. I mean, this is 15 years of me hiring endless amounts of mentors and therapists and coaches, reading endless amount of books, spending tens of thousands of dollars. And got to give one caveat: this isn't designed to diagnose or treat any mental illness or any illness. These are just life skills. And we'll go into some of the other things in a minute. I'm going to give you a little bit of my story. Going to give you a little bit of my story here. Let's see. Oh, well, first I got a little video for you. Let me get that video playing. Yeah, this was great. And we may have some people in our audience here on YouTube or live that's in this video. Fox 17 came to one of our events at Schuler Books in Grand Rapids, did a segment on the social isolation loneliness crisis. That's a thing I'm most passionate about. So let me go ahead and play that for you. When the video starts playing, I'd love if you give me some feedback in chat if y'all on YouTube can hear the video.
Years have passed by since the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, but many Americans still feel its effects. So much so that in 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General released an advisory saying the mortality impact of being socially disconnected is similar to that caused by smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. Fox 17's Alina Howder found out how West Michiganders are combating the loneliness epidemic.
Humans weren't meant to be all alone like I am here in the studio. In fact, insufficient social connection can lead to increased risk of diseases, not to mention the toll it can take on your mental health. It's why community members here in Grand Rapids are making it a point to create connections.
It's been working out really well.
Humans crave connection.
It's really nice.
Whether we realize it or not.
We're people and we need each other.
It's something Michelle Van Sledwright learned the hard way. When she lost her job a couple of years ago.
There was a lot of being at home, being bored. It was just a lot of, what am I doing with my life?
She may have been lonely.
There'll be a lot of people.
But she's not alone. According to the Surgeon General's 2023 Loneliness Advisory, a 2022 study found that when people were asked how close they felt to others emotionally, only 39% of adults in the U.S. said that they felt very connected to others.
We've traced social isolation increasing alongside increased use of technology.
Corbo Health West Section Chief for Adult Psychology, Dr. Lindsay Volpe Bertram, says the impact goes beyond just mental health.
Things like depression and anxiety and other mental health disorders, but also is related with increased risk of cardiovascular health, dementia.
It's something Caledonia native David Good has had experience with his whole life.
I was kind of isolated because of being born with the condition that used to be called Asperger's. I was lonely, numbing my pain with video games like 12 hours a day, just kind of be obsessed with being online.
After a car accident threw off his lifelong plan to be a software engineer, he decided to make some changes.
I got in touch with the best mentors, read the best books, best therapists and coaches. And it was been a 10-year journey of learning how to communicate better.
With online tools like Facebook and Meetup, he's been using the skills he's learned to bring people in Grand Rapids together for over a decade now.
The 50 chapters, locally we have West Michigan Geeks, we have West Michigan Introverts and Shy People, 30s and 40s group.
It's a social enterprise he calls the International Friend Connection.
We put on almost 4,400, 4,500 free events.
Van Sledwright started off as a participant for West Michigan Geeks. She's now running the group.
It's been a really enjoyable experience.
David Good was even recognized by former President Joe Biden with a letter and gold medal for his work with International Friend Connection. He's since started a new program called Friend Magnet, and his dream is to help 1 million people around the world within a decade. In studio, Alina Howder, Fox 17 News.
Alina, thank you. Turning back to the U.S. Surgeon General, in 2023, Vivek Murthy put a spotlight on America's problem with loneliness when he declared the issue as an epidemic. Murphy says loneliness is far more than just a bad feeling and is a major public health risk for both individuals and society. Harvard conducted a survey to learn strategies.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, that was a little segment Fox 17 News did. I've been on Fox 17 News twice and also a couple other TV stations here locally. So give you a little bit about my story. Like I said, I have the condition that used to be called Asperger's. I'm on the autism spectrum. Just was diagnosed a couple years ago. Met with a neuropsychologist 3 times. I always grew up different, and we didn't have diagnoses back then. I just thought I was broken or the weird kid. I was very smart, had a high IQ, but sometimes I put my foot in my mouth, say weird things. I'd have weird ideas compared to everybody else, and I was pretty severely bullied because of it. Um, so I started my first business doing websites when I was 16, and then that became what I wanted to do in life. I went into software development, web development, loved doing it. Did that for so long, got in a car accident. Eventually, that that injury got so bad that I had to stop being a software developer about that was about beginning of 2016. That was a freaking year of pain just every day. Most of the days of the week I was bedridden. I'd go to the ER once a month. I was having horrible neck pain, chronic migraines, just about every day, and they'd break it up for a couple of days and it would start right back up. Um, but eventually, I just could not be on the computer. I couldn't use a phone. I couldn't use a tablet without being in a ton of pain. So I kind of had to go cold turkey off the online world. You saw I was spending like 12 hours or more a day on video games just because I was so lonely. Um, and just being online all the time. And really, it wasn't a happy way to live. I mean, you get those dopamine hits. You feel like you're talking to people online. You maybe have a false sense of connection or something like that. But really, I got cut off cold turkey, and I was still online a little bit. But I had discovered Meetup a while ago, and this is maybe when I discovered Meetup several years before that. And I'd started my first group in 2014, but I had everything taken away by this car accident. My health, and I got ill after that. Couldn't do too much. It was kind of hopeless in life, just being in so much pain. Um, so running, I started a meetup group a couple years ago, a couple years before West Michigan Geeks, and then I started one in 2016 for introverts and shy people and socially anxious people like I was. And I always tell my story of when I went to my first event. This was maybe 2011. It was a board game group. I shook the whole time. I could not say a word to anybody. Played a game for an hour and left. I might have said hi to the organizer, but then every time it got a little bit easier to go. And eventually I reached out for the right help. And I'll go over what some of those tools that I found was. Um, but fast forward, now it's been 10, 11 years since 2014, and we've got 50 chapters. We've had 100 volunteers over 10, 11 years. Our volunteer Vicky is in the audience. Great organizer in East Michigan. And we've almost did 4,500 events. So this became my new purpose. This was my reason for staying alive, running all these free groups to help people. And my concern right now is, how do I scale that up? I mean, we just got an awesome new organizer in Portugal, partnered with the Octopus Movement, who I'm chief of global affairs for. It's a think tank in Europe. It's a group for neurodivergent people in Portugal. Excel, the photographer, she does a great job there for us. I got to get over to Lisbon and see them all. That's one of the goals. But my goal is to open up these groups, all these free groups and free services for people all over the world that are socially anxious and shy, or maybe on the spectrum, struggle with ADHD, people just all like us. That's kind of the dream. Eventually 50 groups, maybe even 100 groups, 100 leaders around the world, help a million people in the next 10 years. So I guess, why should you trust me when it comes to social anxiety and this kind of stuff, besides the fact that I have studied it for years and I was a socially anxious person and overcame it? So trusted by some thought leaders. Here's what my buddy Bob Berg, one of the greatest mentors I had. He mentored me for 2 years, twice a week. Him and the other go-givers. Bob Berg sold 1.2 million books, but he said, aside from being a very talented person, entrepreneur, David's simply one of life's really good human beings. I'm honored to be able to call him a friend and colleague. That kind of makes me choke up a little bit. I flew down to Florida to see Bob. Awesome meeting that. It was like a dream come true meeting him. Oh, this is my buddy David Siegel, former CEO of Meetup. I was on their podcast, and then we kind of became friends after that. The podcast aired in early 21. We emailed back and forth, and I had a little surprise. My mom died in 22, worst time of my life. But they, what Meetup had sent me a invitation in 22, a month after my mom died, and they're like, "Oh, we want you to come to our private 20th anniversary. It's in Manhattan." I'd never been in New York. I didn't believe I could go to New York. Just too many people, too busy of a city. And I talked with my brother, and I'll tell you what my brother said to me. He said, "You know, you got to take chances in life, and I don't want you to be 85 years old and always wonder what could have been. Look on your back in your life and said, oh, if only I would have went to that party." But David heard I was going to the party, and he said, "You're going to give a speech. You're going to represent all the organizers out of a couple 100,000 organizers. I'm picking you to give that speech." And so that was quite an honor. That was quite an honor. And I didn't give it a speech in years, man. I shook the whole time, but people said they could not tell I was nervous. Finally, I got recognized by the President of the United States several times. President Biden, grateful for the recognition. Letter from President Biden said, "I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you for your volunteer leadership. Love volunteering. I love leadership. Want to help as many people as I can." So in summary, recognized by President Biden. Oh, I've forgotten to mention Points of Light. That was started by President George H.W. Bush in 1989. They examined everything we've done the past 10 years. They declared me a point of light, permanent title I could use, sent me a big certificate. Bob Berg's my buddy. I love Bob Berg. He inspired me. His books taught. Read all of Bob Berg's books. So actually, David Siegel also kind of called me the founding Meetup brand ambassador in 2023 for what I'd accomplished on their platform. I'm chief of global affairs for Octopus Movement think tank in Amsterdam. It's a nonlinear think tank. We want to come up. We want to use neurodivergent, nonlinear people to come up with new solutions for global issues. Some of the problems they've worked on is some things for NASA, some things about how trust can be reestablished in the modern age. How do we determine truth when it comes to like AI and misinformation things? So we have a lot of cool meetings, work on a lot of cool problems. Again, International Friend Connection. We built that from the ground up, one group in Grand Rapids to 50 chapters all over the world. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, but this is going to be about you. It's all about you. And this is something I seriously believe about everybody, because I was lost. I know what it's like to feel lost. And I know what it's like to feel broken, but I want to assure you that you're not broken. Maybe you just haven't taught the right tools, or your brain thinks differently and you have a hard time getting around the world, and you kind of haven't taught how things work. Us software developers, us IT people, engineers, we're great with computer systems, but tend to be poor with people. And that's because it hasn't been explained to us like an engineer or like a software developer. But if things are explained to us in a step-by-step process in a system, we can put it in our heads and we can make it work. And I seriously believe everybody is important for the future of humanity. We're all facing some big problems. We're at a time of rapid change with AI coming down, and I may teach y'all some stuff about using AI. But you have an important role in humanity, and just because you haven't found it yet doesn't mean you're not important. You matter, and because you're attending this, I believe in you. Because you're here. I mean, my promise to you is I'm going to help you find your path. I'm going to describe some of the tools I'll be teaching you over the coming 5-6 weeks. So here's the thing. Oh no, I gotta hide my webcam here because it's blocking some of the stuff. There we go. Now y'all can see. So anybody can learn people skills. So I'm going to give you a few stats. So Harvard just did that big 80-year study. I put some of the sources down below there. You can rewatch this video on YouTube. Check it out later. So Harvard's 80-year study said number one factor in lifelong happiness and longevity, what'll help you live the longest, it was linked to the positive and supportive relationships that you have. We're not meant to be isolated. We're not meant to be stuck behind a computer with no in-person friends. All kind of great stuff happens in the brain when we get together with great people, all kind of great chemicals, the oxytocin, all those great feel-good chemicals, the things that extend our lives longer. And here's MIT and Harvard did a research study a long time ago. It was with engineers. And I talk with engineers, and I believe this too as a software developer, software engineer. I don't need to know people. I don't need to know people skills. I just concentrate on those programming skills, those engineering skills, those data skills, and that'll be good enough. But what this study said is that 85% of your career success, and more studies are finding this over and over, comes from your people skills. Your career success is only 15% to your technical skills. So it's the people that can do a lot of these things that I'm going to teach in the coming weeks that end up most successful in the office, in the workplace, and in their careers. That's kind of mind blowing right there. Buddy of mine always tells me, there's that one guy that's indispensable, an engineer that nobody likes, but they won't fire him, that's indispensable. And to that, I kind of say, but do you want to live that life? Do you want to live that life to know that people don't like you when you could learn some simple skills? And I'm going to prove to you in a minute that it's skills. Oh yeah, and there's this study. This study blew my mind. It was by Alden and Taylor, 2014. It was about social skills training for social anxiety. Number one treatment for social anxiety was just learning and practicing social skills. That's why my vision for my global vision is two-pronged. I teach these classes for free. And then right now we're just in Michigan, both sides of Michigan, and Portugal. And I got a couple of buddies. I give a shout out to Harv and Chaya. They may be doing some events for us in New York City. Would love for them to do that. Hint, hint. but yeah, number one treatment for social anxiety was just learning and practicing those social skills. And when we got the groups in Michigan where you come and practice safe environment, you're not going to be judged. Everybody makes those same mistakes. Everybody thinks, oh, nobody's going to like me. I was bullied when I was a kid. That means no one's going to like me. I just say the same things. People are going to judge me, but people are too busy worrying about themselves, and we keep our groups a chill place. So in Michigan or in Portugal right now, we may get one started in Tampa. I got a lead on that, but yeah, y'all come out and we'll take care of you. Let me turn that cam back on. So, oh no, now I'm blocking it again. I should have went over the presentation, but yeah. So again, social skills and soft skills, the biggest secret I learned, and I'll tell you what my mindset used to be. I'm going to turn my camera back on so you can see my face. You can see my face, but so they aren't magic. They're not something you're necessarily born with. Some people are maybe pick them up easier. For people that are engineers, for people on the spectrum like me, like what I thought was, you're either born with it or you can never learn them. And then I went and learned them through a step-by-step process, and that was mind-blowing. I got the right mentors and help and therapists and coaches. And it freaking blew my mind that I could learn this like I learned software development, break it down like an engineering problem, and repeat it. And I kind of reverse engineered human connection like I was doing software development. That's how my brain works in a systematic way. And it was kind of like learning coding or new tools. It kind of got exciting to where I love people now, and I love who I look forward every week. Who am I going to meet? And what am I going to learn from that person? Because what I found out, everybody has something to teach me, even people that are radically different from me. I just love learning about people. Now, secret two, besides that you can learn social skills, is, here's the thing. Most people, they go on dates, they go out with friends, spend the whole time talking about themselves the whole dang time. And that's the exact opposite thing to do. And people like me, I love info dumping. I'm info dumping here for half hour, the next half hour or so. But we may take a little break. I'll get some aha moments from you. But it's better to be interested than interesting, because that shows that we care. And there's a little thing. Oh, where's my little notepad? It says, oh, got to hold up the camera. Caring plus communication equals connection. It's a simple formula. And here's another thing I have by my desk. It says, prove your mind wrong. An assistant made me write that down. I watched the video, Alex Hormozi. I like Alex Hormozi, real good guy. His wife, Layla's amazing. I might have got his wife's name wrong, but he said this in a video, prove your mind wrong. So I keep that. Also, back in Lost, any fans of Lost, there's a guy named Jack. Not Jack. No, it was. Oh no, I'm gonna have to look that up. But the one guy who was a wheelchair, and then he could walk after he got on the island. His key phrase was, "Don't tell me what I can't do. Don't tell me what I can't do." And I kind of adopted that for myself. Um, so yeah, it's better to be interested in people than being interesting yourself. It's good to be an interesting person, have things you like to do, have awesome experiences, but it's better to be interested in other people if you want to make friends, you want to have relationships. Kind of talking about yourself too much is pretty repellent. Um, I kind of had a period of grief where my mind was going to overdrive and I was just talking about myself all the time. That was something that couldn't be helped because of the extreme amount of grief I was in, but it prevented me from connecting with new people. Um, you have to ask the right question. Bob Berg taught me about asking the right questions. And this is if you're a quiet person. See, I was a quiet person in the past. This is why there's a lot of hope for you. And you can be real good with people if you're a quiet person, or if you're a quiet person, because you just ask people questions and listen and ask more questions and share a little bit about yourself here and there. But it works over and over again. And so that was one of the biggest secrets I wanted to share with you tonight. Oh, Buddy Lewis, guy Lewis I worked with, his girlfriend had dumped him because he had too much social anxiety. But then now, several months later, he's got a new girlfriend. I worked with him for a while, and now he's got a new girlfriend. He was just so quiet and so shy. A secret three, it's all about feelings. Feelings don't care what the facts are. Let me turn off my little camera a minute so you can read that a bit. But yeah, that blew my mind too. So I'm a very fact logical based person. What would get me in trouble is I would say something fact based and I would not know how that would make people feel. And then I'd be like, why aren't these people like me? What I said was a fact. And I hear this over and over from like highly intelligent people that are like engineers, scientists, things like that, especially people in the spectrum like me, is like, oh, I talked about this thing. It was factually accurate. But then people got mad and I just do not know why. I don't know why. And that was me. That was me for the longest time. But what I learned over time was sometimes certain facts can trigger negative emotions in people. I give you an example. I had a guy in one of my virtual groups. Seemed like a smart guy. He was probably in the spectrum like me. And we had one woman from one country come in. First thing he said to her was, he shared a fact that was pretty negative about her country. She had a bad reaction to him, and he was just so confused as to why she was upset. But some facts can trigger negative emotions. And if you trigger negative emotions in people, they're not going to want to be your friend. It's all about triggering the right feelings. So I'm going to go over some of the classes we'll be teaching in the coming weeks. Right now, if you're in chat, I'm going to take a break for 30 seconds. Y'all have any aha moments? Put it in YouTube chat. Put it in the Zoom chat. Is there anything new that's coming to you tonight that you haven't heard before? I give a few seconds there. See if we get some chat. I know YouTube chat's on a slight delay. Yeah, we got some people in chat agreeing with me that it's their experience too. Um, yeah, keep those ahas coming in the YouTube chat and in the Zoom chat here. So let me go over the first class that I teach, and all this stuff came from a free class that I taught a long time ago. Well, no, a couple years ago. Oops, I have lost my window. We don't do things perfect in life. You got to be one of the biggest lessons I learned that you got to be okay with imperfections. Sometimes good enough is good, but we're not perfect. Actually, if you stay around to the end, if you're watching, you stay around to the end. I'm going to tell you one of the most valuable lessons one of my leaders taught me. This is a way that you can turn any mistake, any failure into a win. And that'll be kind of the reward for staying through the whole presentation tonight. But first class I teach, I call it the courage formula. It is all the techniques that I learned through acceptance and commitment therapy and exposure therapy. What it allows you to do, especially in a corporate setting, this is great for executives. is to manage your emotions. You know, one of the main things that we have to do, one of the key tenets of emotional intelligence is managing your emotions. You know, our thoughts and feelings are kind of random, and I'll get to that more in the class, but and we can't really control our thoughts and feelings, but we can control our reactions. So what I'm going to teach you is all that emotional mastery, how to choose rather than like if someone's mean to you, like lashing out right away, how to choose the best reaction, or something makes you uncomfortable, how to choose the best reaction. And I'm going to teach you these tools from acceptance and commitment therapy. I've been practicing them for 15 years. I took a professional class from Dr. Russ Harris on the ACT tools. And I did exposure therapy on myself and with therapists. And it works great for social anxiety, people who are shy or anxious, or even if you don't have official diagnosed social anxiety, you're just shy. But I'm going to take you step by step how to use these tools to do several things: overcome that social anxiety or overcome those anxious feelings, overcome fear. I had to overcome a huge needle phobia, or I wouldn't be able to sit here. When I remember the early days of International Friend Connection, I would have to. So so you see me lean back, I would have to lean back through the whole meeting, because if I lean my head forward, I would be in bed the next day in so much pain. And the only way to overcome that pain now is to get four freaking longest needles in the world in the back of my head where my spine meets the skull, and they were rough. I got a little video I'll show you next week, to prove that I overcame I had to overcome needle phobia to get allergy shots. Needle phobia is, I think, one of the biggest phobias that people had. Also, public speaking. I had to get over that fear too, as well as my fear of meeting people. So these tools, it's going to be a tool set to build courage, because courage is the basic personal growth skill. A lot of people go their lives without learning these skills, and they wonder what could have been. I'm going to teach you how to build that confidence too. And confidence just comes from doing things that you couldn't do before, doing difficult things. I used to use the phrase doing hard things, and then I'd get a lot of immature snickers and laughs. So now I say doing difficult things. Teach you how to do difficult things, because that's the key. All this stuff is really difficult. And what I've found is that life's about doing the difficult things. And if you want that amazing life that's on the other side of all this work, you got to learn to do difficult things, got to learn to be uncomfortable. And what I'm going to teach you is how to be uncomfortable and how to get what you want out of life anyways, because there are many days there's a horrible pain. And as long as I wasn't bedridden, I would host that meeting. I'd go out in Grand Rapids, host that meeting, or I'd host that online meeting, because people were dependent on me. And this is all practical stuff. This isn't like woo-woo stuff. It's all evidence-based stuff that's backed by science. Acceptance commitment therapy is backed by 3,000 studies, so it works over and over again. So next class I'm going to have for you is my whole class on how to connect with people, how to form emotional connection with people. I have a technique called the endless conversation. So you always have things to say. I learned it from some of the greatest salespeople in the world, how they go to business networking events and they can talk to everybody. Little formula I call instant connection formula. I'd recorded a class. I was selling that a while back, but I'm just going to give it to everybody for free. What this formula does is when you meet someone, you set up a reciprocal exchange of positive emotions to establish a quick connection with someone. So it's triggering those positive feelings. It's letting people know we care so that we can trigger those friendships and get to know people when we're out. And in this class, I may do it next week. Tell you the best places, how to meet people locally, because everybody thinks that you got to swipe on apps. You just talk to people on Discord. You go on Facebook groups, and that's how you meet people. But, I think we're going to experience a renaissance of meeting people in person. The Grand Rapids is kind of taking the lead. We got so many social groups forming, such great places to make so many friends, but you just have to know how to meet people. Like I said, it's a skill you can learn like I learned it. I mean, I used to shake the whole time meeting people, and sometimes that comes back, but I meet people anyways. And yeah, so I learned a lot from friends that are psychologists, from my own psychologist that I use. My buddy Bob Berg taught me a lot. Other CEOs, I got a lot of friends that are CEOs, own a lot of businesses, investors, things like that. And they taught me a ton of stuff. I want to teach that to all of y'all. Oh, now this may be the most important week, because so A lot of people who teach social skills, they only teach tricks. They only teach tricks, and they only teach you surface level stuff. Well, if you don't have anything beyond a surface level, if you don't have character, if you don't have integrity, all this stuff's going to fade. You may make friends, but those friendships might wear off. Um, I'm going to teach you how to shift your entire mindset like I did. I'm going to teach you how to become an attractive person. I'm not talking about physically attractive. I'm talking about the kind of person people can depend on and want around. The kind of person everybody wants to be friends with. And I'm going to give you a step-by-step system, kind of rewire your brain, change the vibe that you give off to people. And what I'm going to tell you is none of this is easy and none of this is super quick, but that beautiful life, that amazing life that you deserve, like now, wherever I go, I make friends. I love traveling. I love making friends. All kind of people to hang out with wherever I go. And I never thought that I would have the life that I had now, being that scared guy sitting behind a computer, being scared of people, playing video games all the time. And nothing wrong with playing video games. I mean, they're fun. I play a little bit of Star Trek Online every now and then, but I only let myself do it on the treadmill. That's another story. That's another story maybe we'll get into. But yeah, nothing wrong with playing video games. But there's a big world out there, and don't be 85, wonder, like, I missed this whole big world. Who could have I been friends with? What kind of relationship would I found? What kind of business opportunities could I found? How could I have advanced my career had I only tried? I think, was it one of the Stoics said something like, everything belongs to he who tries? Yeah, so the next class, number 4, I'm going to teach you, let me, I got to get rid of that camera a minute so you can see that. But yeah, so class 4 is going to be all about navigating friendships and friend groups, avoiding toxic people. I'm going to teach you the best explanation of boundaries that I saw. Boundaries is something as essential that we set up boundaries. It's kind of where other people end and we begin. That's how a therapist once described it. But we set up boundaries to protect ourselves and to protect others. And boundaries is kind of a weird concept, but I got a way of explaining it. When I was in training for becoming a certified professional coach, they had the greatest explanation of boundaries, and I'm going to give you all that one, and how to set boundaries with people and how to spot healthy friendships, and kind of how to know who drags you up and who will lift you up and who helps you move your life forward, and who may drag you down, helps you move that life backward. So that's number 4. And then class number 5. So in acceptance commitment therapy, I use those tools for coaching. And one of the things I did, well, the only reason that I'm running all these groups and I'm living this life now is because I learned how to find my purpose in life. I learned how to find my mission in life. And I don't know, I kind of say every man needs a mission. But, being able to walk in purpose in life, knowing what you're here for at this time and at this moment, it just changes your life. It changes your confidence. You hold your head up high and you can do things that you never thought you would do before. So I'm going to go over the acceptance commitment therapy techniques and how we find our values, how we find our purpose in life. And this will become your why for living, your why of how you're going to overcome all this tough stuff that's going on, how you're going to overcome this anxiety. And it works over and over again. And then, I'm a huge fan of the book, The Art of War, huge fan of the author, Gary Gagliardi. And he taught me a step-by-step methodology from the book, The Art of War. It's kind of like engineering methodology or scientific methodology that you can apply to goal setting and breaking problems down. And if you use this system over and over again, it just accelerates your success and helps you do kind of whatever you want to do. So yeah, I got another class. Now I got a good buddy. Her name's Coach Seal the Deal. I just got that. I just got that. But my buddy Coach Seal, she's been dating Coach in LA. I used to hang out with the biggest people in LA, work with a lot of executives, TV movie industry. Um, and so she taught me so much. We came up with a class on how to find love without using dating apps, because everybody thinks that the only way you can find someone is a swipe, but dating apps really are just not good. Like I said in the beginning, one I taught this class to a paid crowd a while back, and one guy said he got engaged in a couple months. I was like, dude, that's a bit too quick. That's a bit too quick. But you know, it all starts with friendship. You got to know how to make a group of friends. You got to have that mindset shift before you're ready to date. A lot of guys just they think they need a girlfriend. They think they need to get married, and that'll solve all their problems. But if they haven't did all the inner work, it's not going to work out. And then tonight, I got something special for you. What I promised I'd teach you in the beginning, one of the greatest lessons I learned a couple years ago. And this was after a time I'd felt like I failed. I felt like I made a big mistake. And we got a grade. I don't know if he's watching tonight. I'm gonna take a little, I'll take a few seconds. Anybody have any other breakthroughs? Anybody have any kind of aha moments? Anything that's new, kind of blowing your mind? Feel free to type it in YouTube chat or Zoom chat. I'm gonna take 10, 20 seconds here. I'm gonna check the Zoom chat because I'm dealing with all kind of multiple windows. Um, yeah, some people are getting blown away by how feelings kind of are more important than facts. That blew me away too. That was one of the most mind blowing things. But I'm going to teach you what my organizer and one of my leaders in the International Friend Connection, Dale, guy from Texas. Now Dale was leadership management, I Intel and IBM, and he taught me something that he learned. Um, you know, a lot of this is separate from what he taught me, but here's something I learned. Life is mostly about life is mostly a series of making mistakes, and eventually you get that big win that makes it worth living. And you know, everybody makes mistakes, so you got to be okay with making mistakes. A while back, I was in a study group, Bhagavad Gita study group with a Hindu priest, and a really great guy. He taught me about something called detachment. And I'd learned it in Bob Berg's books a little bit, and that really helped me about, you know, you try your best, but whether something succeeds or fails, you don't let it affect you because you have that sense of detachment that you're not desperate for everything to work out. You're not desperate, letting go of that desperation. That's something I'll teach you too. But the zero failure formula is what my organizer Dale, when I was really taught me when I was really getting down in myself. And Dale's a really great dude. Both sci-fi fans, but what Dale taught me was that he gave me a little speech, and then I kind of examined this and changed it up a little bit. So he sat me down and he said, you know, I'm going to teach you something. He said, there's the win, the lose, and the learn. Everybody knows what the lose is. You feel like a failure. You feel like a loser. You make a mistake. You failed at something, you lost. There's the win. Everybody knows what that is. You feel amazing. Something worked out. But then there's the learn. And this will go along with what some of my friends in military leadership. Shout out to Tanya Tyler. Shout out to Dennis LaRue, military leadership there. Um, what they taught me was, he said, now, if you go back, and this will go along with the strategic system that I learned a while back. If whenever you make a mistake, whenever you fail, you go back. And my friends in military leadership would say, do an after action report. But you go back, you examine what all went on, what you could control, what you couldn't control, and what you can do differently the next time. What you can do is you can turn that mistake into a win, or you turn that mistake. He called it a learn, but what I say is, in your mind, because you learned, you turn that into a win. It's just like playing a video game. You're gaining more experience points. Maybe you crash and burn talking to somebody. Maybe you embarrass yourself a bit at a social event. But just like in a video game, you're leveling yourself up, gaining those experience points. And you learn, and next time you do better. And every time you practice, practice, practice. And you got to practice a ton of times. A lot of people will come to my events. They will come once. They'll be like, I didn't make any friends. I'm not showing up again. And I'm like, you got to come consistently. People got to get used to it. You got to practice and practice and practice those skills. And if you practice those skills 100 times, practice those skills 1,000 times, you're going to be successful. You're going to win. And then you're going to turn every mistake into that win. And that's what I call the zero fail formula. So that combined with being detached from the outcome of a lot of things that I'm doing is just mind blowing. I'm able to do things I never thought I could do. And it doesn't devastate me anymore. Someone doesn't like me, it's not devastating anymore like it used to be. So here's the thing. You're watching this, because you showed up, I believe in you. A lot of people don't come to seminars like these, don't listen to YouTube videos like these, don't listen to lectures like these. But because you're here, I was where you were. I was where 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was where you are now, and I got to the other side. And I know you can do it too, because you're taking the time out of your night to come here. And now this is going to be now in the next weeks, it's going to be your time to learn what I learned. I'm going to give you everything I've learned. And we're going to work together hand in hand to get you out around people, to get you building that life that you deserve, that amazing life that's on the other side of all this work and on all this pain. And because I've been there and because you're taking the initiative tonight, I believe in you. I know you can do it. And we're going to take this walk together over the next 5-6 weeks. And then after that, we'll modify the classes, we'll repeat them again, and we'll help more and more people. And then in turn, I'm always available to speak for companies. In turn, I want people to help me build the international friend connection. We need resources to onboard more groups, onboard more volunteers, because in 10 years, I believe that we're going to have 100 groups, 50, 100 groups, and we're going to have helped 1 million people between our classes and our free in-person groups and everything. So you're on the ground floor tonight. This is pretty exciting for me, and I'm just really grateful that you attended tonight. And I think that's kind of all I have tonight. I may go on to we may do a little Q&A. Let me there we go. I'll get rid of the other monitor. Go back here. But for people following on YouTube, yeah, we got we had a bunch of viewers join in YouTube. So now I'd like to go to the Q&A. Tonight for our inaugural event, everybody gets to ask questions. You don't need to be in the Zoom audience to ask questions. I'm gonna take the time to answer everybody's questions. Now, I can answer questions. This isn't going to go into like isn't going to go into like a mentorship thing or a coaching thing, because that takes this long time. And in the future, if I get enough interest, we may offer like one night per week where we do group coaching. I found group coaching is the most helpful. I can do one-on-one, but really I want people to come to those group sessions, because I've been in many group coaching sessions, and I find the group coaching is so helpful because there are people at different experience levels in there. I got my buddy marketing guy. I'm going to say Drew from Grow House in Pennsylvania. Look up Drew from Grow House in Pennsylvania. Brilliant marketing guy. I love Drew. And I got a buddy Marcellus. He's helped me with the YouTube. Marcellus is like the YouTube guy. Teaches you how to set up channels and grow channels. And one theme you'll get and I've been in a lot of group coaching things, and the group is always better than the one-on-one, because there's people with different experience levels in there. It's like I come in all frustrated, and there's another dude in there. It's going to say, I was where you were a year ago, and you're going to get past this. You're going to get past this. You're going to be successful. Oh, somebody loved the experience points of video game analogy. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. But now let's go into the Q&A. Let's see what kind of questions you got for me. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in any of the chats. I'm monitoring the YouTube chat and the Zoom chat. I know YouTube's got a slight delay, so y'all on YouTube will be catching up to us in about 30 seconds or so. Oh yeah, somebody asked when are we going to get a group Montreal? I know a couple of people in Montreal. Maybe we can get one going. I'd love to go to Montreal. We talked at and you said her name was Ash. We talked at the beginning. Montreal's a pretty amazing city. Got some friends there. There's a group, Happy Positive group, Zoom group. They do some great Zoom events run by DJB in Montreal. So yeah, I'd like to get there. Um, yeah, thanks. And what I'm going to tell you, somebody mentioned about the practical experience, is that you know what I used to be a theory guy. I loved learning all kind of theory and how things worked and things like that. But ultimately, when I had everything taken away, I had to focus on what works in the real world. So what we're going to give you is all these real world tools to improve your career, to make more money, to get the friends that you want, to find the relationship you want, to kind of be the person and that you want. And I got friends that are real. Oh no, my mind just blanks. ADHD is kicking in once in a while. ADHD kicks in once in a while, but yeah, I got a lot of friends that are really big in the fitness scene or personal trainers and coaches and things like that. Eventually, maybe we'll bring on them. We'll have a discussion of fitness so we can see how we can get. There's something I did. I'll tell you how I do my fitness is I built a dang desk on my treadmill so I could play video games and go through all my emails. And then I get up in the morning, I eat breakfast, I get on that treadmill, 30 minutes of exercise, go through all my emails, play a little Star Trek Online, and do the daily missions. And then, so yeah, no, I do not train other coaches or anything like that. But I like helping individuals and mentoring individuals. And I love doing corporate and conference speaking and training. Eventually, after we get these 6 classes done, I'm reworking this whole thing for the corporate environment so that we can help executives to maximize their careers. And also, one thing I spoke with West Michigan Project Management Institute. It was geared around helping neurodivergent people be the most productive in their companies. And it was about like simple, cheap things you can do to like increase a neurodivergent software developer's productivity by like 10% or more. I mean, that's tens of thousands of productivity increase just for some simple little things. But yeah, no, I don't train people on becoming coaches. I haven't been in coaching, mentoring that long, as other than like coaching my own leaders over the past 10 years. And shoot me a message on it. You're in a private community, Gail. Shoot me a message and I can give you some resources on where to learn about coaching and things like that. Had another Zoom comment here. Oh, I put Zoom in the wrong window. There we go. I think this kind of went fairly decent tonight for being the first live stream. Oh, Oh yeah, buddy Ember. Ember's awesome. Love seeing Ember every other Wednesday. That's Shy People group in Grand Rapids. Yeah, so there's a question: how do you get your stream of consciousness kicked into gear enough to start a conversation? Um, oh, that's not knowing what to say. And I saw that in our conversation class when we talk about forming emotional connections with people. And I'll get to that. That'll be in 2 weeks. Oh, in the one thing. Oh, I'll give you a fourth secret. Oh, Buddy Tamana, my buddy from Jersey, wants to learn about coaching too. So cool. Yeah, we should have a night of the coaches because I know Coach Kelvin Troy Johnson, Atlanta Love Coach. Kelvin's awesome. I have Coach Seal. I should get her on. So Coach Kelvin, look him up. Kelvin Troy Johnson, YouTube and TikTok. I think he was a counselor and then he became a coach for women. He explains men to women because, men and women are different. Sometimes even our brains are different. And so a guy can say one thing, woman can interpret it totally different. It's kind of like almost like me being on the spectrum. I can say a thing, I can mean it one way, and other people interpret it differently. But yeah, Coach Kelvin explains men to women. Coach Seal, I'm going to put Kelvin in chat. Kelvin Troy Johnson. Yeah, real good dude, real good dude. He's a fellow meetup organizer too. Met him through Coach Seal and Coach Deborah. Coach Deborah was breakup coach, helped me when I went through a rough time. Coach Seal's like the big sis I never had. She was trained by John Gottman himself at Gottman Institute. And she'd been doing this for decades. Such amazing. I mean, if you get anything from what I'm talking about tonight, I love mention the people I know. It's funny. We got a social club, West MI Social Club here in Grand Rapids, and Allie and Leslie and Andrew, I think Nate. There's some of the admins that run that whole thing, do so many awesome in-person events. It was just at sushi night. We got a buddy Caitlin with sushi night. And oh, my mind just blanked again. But yeah, they kind of said, your best energy is when you're talking about your friends. I may agree. I may agree. I love getting to know people. I love knowing people. And me, when I was young, I was bullied so much. I hated people. I hated people for the longest time. And I had to learn to care about people. And that I had to make that shift. I was around the wrong people. Once I started my meetup group for nerds, the original one, all kind of awesome people I came, then I realized, hey, I was around a bunch of jerks my whole life. I'm an adult. I don't need to be around jerks anymore. I'm around awesome people. And I meet awesome people every week. But yeah, another thing I want you to get taken away. I don't talk about the people I know to name drop to be like arrogant. One thing I learned in the UK, and I may talk about intercultural communication too. But like you're not supposed to talk about like anything you've achieved or your career or anything in the UK. That's whereas like in other countries is perfectly fine. But I don't talk about the people I know just to name drop and things like that. I love talking about people I know, and what I want you to know is what I originally heard from Gary Gagliardi. He said all opportunities come from people. And my buddy David Siegel in his book, he gave me his book, and I read it, and he said we did a little. I may throw up the link to that interview I did with him. He said you can live a lucky life. The more people you know, the more luck you have. And just getting to know people, appreciating people, caring about people is the key, because nobody cares what you know until they know what you care. I think that was that Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, we're going to, that'll be class 4. About boundaries and things. It'll be the strategy on how to deal with toxic people. And kind of really the thing is you just got to set those boundaries. You got to be firm with them and know that it's okay to set boundaries with people. But boundaries can be kind of a hard concept. Took me kind of years to kind of learn and kind of to flip that switch. It was like dependency injection. When I first started learning dependency injection and programming when I was doing C#, that was a hard concept to learn. One day it just kind of flipped in my head and made sense. And now it's like, oh, why didn't I ever get that? Yeah, hey, we might have another C# guy in there. We might have another C# guy in the audience like me. Yeah, I was full stack C#, started doing HTML way back in the day. I'm not going to say how long ago that day was. But yeah, the more people you know, the more luck you have. And kind of the more good people you know, the happier life is, the longer you'll live, and the more career opportunities you have. Oh, wow, that is something I did not know about you, Ember. You're a .NET dev. We will have to talk at the next event I see you at. Front end, I was a little bit of JavaScript and then HTML, and I hated CSS. I did not like CSS. Okay, let's just say I was doing HTML before CSS came out. CSS came out, and I wanted to pull my hair out about CSS. Back end was a lot of C# SQL. Loved doing SQL. Yeah, it was just C# and SQL. Didn't do Python. I should tell you all a little funny story about my meetup groups. We'll keep the live stream going on for just a little bit. Oh, funny story. Now, got a buddy in one of my groups. So in my local groups, four couples got married. I went to 4 weddings. A couple of them have kids now. One has a couple kids. Some of the people that have been in my group since the beginning, but one dude came in the group, and one guy, super nice guy, Not going to mention his name for privacy's sake, but everybody loves this dude. And he was a Python programmer. One woman that was a doctor, she thought that was funny. There's a programming language named Python. So from then on, his nickname was Python. So whenever he'd come in, she'd be like, "Oh, hey Python, how you doing this week?" But yeah, he met his wife in my group, and they said at their wedding that, "Oh, feel free to go. We're just kind of talking now. I'm going to end the stream in a couple minutes. So thank you so much for coming out to our first live stream. Hope you got some good stuff out of there. I may cut up some videos to make some content for the channels. Go to thefriendmagnet.com. Find me on davidgood.org. And we'll be dropping YouTube videos. My goal is like every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I got some TV interviews. I've got other classes that I've recorded. We may cut those up, but we got a lot of stuff coming for you in our YouTube channel. So please like and subscribe to that. And I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, they got married, and what they said at their wedding was when they met in my group, it felt like they knew each other their entire lives. That's how good of a connection they had. And they got married several years. We had a lot of. It was a group for nerds, and I got blown away that these couples formed. But yeah, that was that just blew me totally away. But anyhow, it's getting late, so I just want to thank everybody for Ash made a funny comment in the Zoom chat there, but hey, just want to thank everybody so much. Real grateful you came out. I think we all did a good job together tonight. And just remember, because you came tonight, I believe in you. And you have a role to play in the future of humanity. You may not know what that is right now, but stay tuned in the next 6 weeks. And I'm going to teach you I'm going to teach you all these skills to push your life forward. It's going to be an exciting thing. And I want you to sign up for my private community. It's community.thefriendmagnet.com. It's all free right now. And I use the heartbeat.chat platform. They are so great. They're a great community platform. And we got a little forum in there called Victories. So whenever y'all go out in the real world, whatever victory you have, no matter how small, I want you to post in there about it. You go out for the first time, you have a conversation for 2 minutes with someone, post about that in there. We'll help you celebrate that, because every win is valid. Every win is valid. And I'm going to teach you why next week. I'm going to teach you why we got to celebrate every win next week. But thank you so much. So grateful that you came out. Thanks for everybody watching on YouTube. Thanks for our live audience on Zoom. And I'm going to get going and have a little rest. So we will see y'all later.